It's the new movement, DJ Drewski, and today's a little different. Usually we have rappers up here, promoting their music and new music videos. But today we got Jared Peets, and I'm going to read right off of this paper. Lifelong Elizabeth resident is running for mayor.
Yes, sir.
First off, congratulations on taking this step. That's
Thank
a
you.
big step. Being born and raised in Elizabeth, when you hear things like this, you get excited, right? But
Definitely.
from what I can remember since kindergarten, there's been one mayor my whole life that I can remember. Now, you probably know more about, times and dates, but Mayor Bowledge, who's currently in position, how long has he been mayor of Elizabeth?
So right now it'll be 32 years. If he passes this election, it'll be 36.
36 years. That's a very long time to be, in a position anywhere, like any job, any career. But he's done it. And now you feel like it's time for change.
Correct. I think it's time for a change. The last 62 years, we've had two mayors. So Mayor Dunn before him, and now Bowledge since I was roughly 2 years old.
Right. Going up against someone like that, how do you prepare yourself? Like, first off, let's take it back to when you decided, I want to run for mayor. When did that click in your brain? Like, I'm going to do this.
So last election during COVID, I ran for mayor. Right before that, seeing everything that goes on in the city between working for the city and living in the city.
Right.
The city's not safe. We need to update our infrastructure. Our youth is getting into too much trouble. We're not setting enough programs for them. So things like that got me into, we need some change.
Right.
And the biggest thing is everyone's scared to talk because everyone's scared of the consequences that might happen.
When you say everyone, who because, sometimes the youth, they don't even realize that they can speak up, right? They don't feel like they have a voice when it comes to these type of situations. But when you say everyone, is it people in positions right now? Is it, you see people, because you work with the city in City Hall, that just keep quiet on these issues? Have you been seeing this a lot in the past couple of years?
Yeah, so I would say it's a mixture of both. As far as the youth, you're 100% right. They don't know a lot of things, and a lot of things aren't being brought to their attention as well as the other residents. As far as city workers and people who live in the city who do want change, some people get some type of backlash from the current administration, and is why they try to stay away from those topics, especially politics and things like that. Personally, they've done things with me as well, but it's not going to stop me from continuing to try to build forward and try to bring our city back to what it should be.
Right, because I was going to say, it's not like you're coming from a organization running for mayor. You work with the city. And sometimes, like you mentioned, you could catch backlash. Was that ever a thought, like, hey, if I run for mayor and I'm going against certain people, it can affect what I have going on now, right? Because I think it said it here, you work with PD CCTV operator.
Correct.
What does that mean for those who don't know what that is?
So CCTV operator is basically we control the cameras of the city. So we try to find crime while it's happening or before it's happening, as well as alerting the officers while they're en route to scenes, giving them updates to make sure that they're safe, they know what's going on. And I've been there roughly 13 years now.
13 years.
Yeah.
So you have firsthand vision of what's happening in the streets of Elizabeth.
Correct.
Like, you're the guy that's behind the screen seeing this go on.
Correct.
You said there's crime in the city. Is that the goal? Like, okay, I get in, I want to work on that first. Like, what is your agenda once you win, boom, now you're mayor?
So my biggest things that I want to work on is obviously the safety within the city. As far as our police department, I don't believe we have enough officers to be able to withstand the 150 to 200,000 people that we have within our city.
Right.
And that's not including business owners, people who travel through the city. We should have at least double of what we have now. So
Really?
that officers are able to work in their communities and be able to be a part of the community instead of running from job to job to job to job. Right now, they are stretched very thin. Even about a year and a half ago, the fire department got promotions, but they waited a year and a half to do it for the police department, which is going to happen the beginning of June, right before the election. So there are a lot of things that tie together that are focused more towards photo ops and things like that.
Right.
And that's kind of what we have to push away from. We have to work on actually getting in the streets. Throughout this election, I've been in the streets, walking the streets, hitting door to door every day. I mean, there's people I see downtown that I see again uptown or midtown, and it's great. They want to stop. They want to have conversation. They want to talk about the problems that are going on in the city. And that's the biggest thing. Our infrastructure has to be updated. Our city floods too much. And as you saw in the last hurricane, 4 people lost their lives.
Right.
And it wasn't the first responders' fault. It came down heavy. But there are things that can be prevented ahead of time, as well as the homelessness in our city. I mean, everywhere you go, whether it's Broad Street, Elizabeth Avenue, there's even one lady who lives in Elmora Hills in the bus stop on Elmora and Westfield, and she's lived there for the last 5-6 years. Wow. And it's unbelievable that we can do so many things, but we can't help the people have a roof over their head and food on their tables.
Why do you think that part is missing? Like, what is wrong that we can't get that under control or fixed, or what, what's the solution? Like, why is it happening?
So I think we have a couple of programs within our city that do help a lot. It's just when it comes down to politics, it only gets done when
it
election
benefits
time.
someone.
Correct.
Got it.
And if you look around the city now during election time, roads are getting paved, parks are getting updated, and those are things that don't happen on a regular basis. In the last 32 years, they talked about putting substations around the city, which are smaller police departments.
Got it.
Throughout our main one, to be able to help those areas, foot patrol, things like that. The city's been talking about the nightlife with Morris Avenue, which is great, and it is. Great restaurants, great clubs. But the problem is those clubs are taking away from the patrol of the officers. So now the officers have to go and respond to those things, leaving 911 calls to wait for a while.
Right.
When in reality, if we can put those substations on downtown, Elizabeth Ave, and Morris Avenue, those officers would be specific to those areas. So while crime is either happening or they can prevent crime at the same time.
How do you now go about getting people to like believe this? That's the hardest part is, you're saying go vote, and they're asking, why should I vote for Jared? So in just a nutshell, why should someone go vote for Jared Peets when it comes to mayor of Elizabeth?
People should vote for B because I'm about change. My whole entire life has been serving communities. Currently, I'm a captain of the Roselle Park Fire Department. With the police department, I'm an EMT. My whole life has been serving. So that's what I wanted to continue to do. And as far as walking on the streets and talking to people, that's what gets people excited.
Right.
It's unbelievable the conversations I've had and the people that stop me just to talk to me. And that's what brightens people up, and that's what's making people want to vote more. It's very hard to get around the 4th largest city by yourself, and I do have a small team, but I feel like staying on the street, going door to door, hitting the businesses and talking to them is the biggest thing.
So at this point, what is it that you need people to know, like when it comes to voting? Like, some people might be like, I never voted before. Right, I'm 18 years old, born and raised in Elizabeth. I just never voted before. What do I do? I like Jared. He was with DJ Drewski, and they were talking about changes. How do I go vote for him?
So you would go to your board of elections within your city. Obviously, Elizabeth, it's on Broad Street. You would go there, tell them you want to register to vote. You'll fill out a card, fill out what party you want to be affiliated to, and then that goes in, and that's it.
Easy.
Just register.
Do you feel like it's been the same voters for so long? Is that why someone like the current mayor could stay in position? Because that's me from the outside. I'm like, it might just be the same people voting over and over and over, and that's why there's no change.
So I agree 100%. If you look at it, so as a city worker, civilian, you have to live within the city 15 years after you're hired. Now, you can draw your own analogy from that alone, but when you go off of people who are voting, we'll take last election, for example. I got 1,300 votes. The person in third place got 1,100. The current administration got 84. That's roughly 14,000. 14,000 only voted in a primary, but there's over 50,000 registered Democrats.
Wow.
If we got 10,000 more people to vote, or 5,000 or 6,000, it's a different game.
Right.
If you look at it, majority of the people that are voting are city workers.
Right.
100%. and people that live within our community aren't voting. And then it goes back to how people are nervous whether to go with a different person. Is somebody going to then have backlash on them, et cetera, et cetera?
Now, knowing these numbers, do you focus on city workers? You know, being amongst them, your peers, you know, the people you work with. Are you at work saying, yo, don't forget to vote for me? Like, you know.
No, so I respect my job as far as what I do. I love what I do, and I try not to mix up any politics with that.
Got it.
Go to work, do my job. If people want to talk outside of work, 100%. I've actually talked to many of the workers, and I've spoken to different organizations, different departments. And the biggest thing people want, and it's not like a huge raise, they want more workers. They want to be able to have time with their family and not get stuck at work for 24 hours.
Right.
And those are the kinds of things that we're trying to bring. My goal, when elected, I want to set a department that goes through every department to utilize, find out, does this department need more people? Does this department have too many people? We can reallocate those people to different departments to start off without spending any money and be able to help each department go through and then start to go through people's contracts. Not saying people are going to get $1 million raise.
Of course.
We all wish that. But anything to do to show our appreciation and how we can show back to them, because at the end of the day, it's not one person that's running the city. It's every man and woman that's in each department, DPW, City Hall, civilians at the police department, our first responders. Without all of them, we couldn't run the city. So they have to be taken care of first, in my opinion.
I agree. The other part is those people that you said are registered but are not voting. Like, how do we get them to come out to actually vote? You know, like plays a big part.
100%. And the biggest thing that does help, excuse me, with the voting is the mail-in ballots. A lot of people, whether they have full-time jobs or they're elderly and can't get to the voting polls, the mail-in ballots do help. And there are different organizations that help with transport and things like that as far as getting to the polling stations.
Right.
And I think that's what we have to focus on more. Not which party or which individual is running, but more or less to get everybody back into the community involved. Because at the end of the day, if they want change, they have to be a part of it.
Right. You heard them. If you want change, you have to be a part of it. And speaking of change, just like an artist, when I do an interview with a recording artist, when it's time to put out a new song or a new album, it takes a lot of finance that goes into these projects, right? To get the artists and the music out there for people to listen. You running for mayor, it has to cost some money, like to do these campaigns and outside and marketing, even little things, you know, this costs money that people probably don't realize. How have you been able to balance that? Like, you know, still working on this and financing yourself.
So I've come out of pocket. I've put a flyer out there for donations. I haven't received any yet. I understand the situations that people are going through, so
right.
I'm not brushing it on anybody because I decided to do this. So I've come out of pocket for my flyers, for my business cards. I'm working on a couple other little marketing things before the election, kind of veering away from lawn signs.
Right.
Going a different direction, a little more
new school.
Out there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've done it on my own, and it's a little of a struggle. I'm not spending what normal people who are running an election spend. And personally, if I got that kind of money, I would donate that to organizations within our city. Because
look, he's a nice guy. You see that?
Because that hundreds and thousands of dollars should not be spent on a campaign.
Right.
And whether you've been in office 2 days or 32 years, you should be on the streets talking to people. That should be like a weekly or monthly thing, because you really don't know what's going on in every part of the city.
Right. You feel like some people are just out of touch.
Correct.
If somebody did want to help, what's the best way to, you know, get down now? Because we don't know what the future holds, right? So if they want to get in early and say, I support Jared and his beliefs and his goals, and we want to be a part of this, what's the best way to really like tap in with you?
They could go to my Facebook or Instagram, Jared Peets for Mayor 2024. And I have a flyer on there with my Venmo. They can send me through Venmo, or if you would like to volunteer, you can contact me as well. It's a little later towards the end of the election, but funds will definitely help with what we're trying to do right before the election.
Right.
So I do accept, anything counts. But at the end, if you have to struggle to give me money, I don't want it.
We're not talking about the average, working person. I'm talking about the businesses that are in Elizabeth right now that are looking for change. If you're a business owner, I feel like those are the people that should be focusing on, hey, we believe in this guy. He's young. He has young energy. He has new ideas. They should be the ones, really standing behind something.
No, I agree 100%. And business owners I've spoken to, some of them want to, but between the burglaries into their stores and things that have happened business-wise, they're discouraged, and some are just not able to. Like, I've talked to a lot of business owners on Morris Avenue, and they're happy with the nightlife too because it brings them a lot of customers. But at the same time, like we spoke earlier, it brings a lot of crime as well. And these owners are fed up with it. They want it a safer place. People want to be able to go to their car in the morning and not miss catalytic converters or, their wheels.
Right.
Or their whole entire car.
The whole car, right.
I mean, what was it, last year, the year before, we had 1,900 cars stolen from our city. That's a lot.
Wow.
We should be working with Newark and trying to combat these problems because Newark is going so far as with the homeless. They have set up small houses and different programs, and their mayor wasn't getting funding from the state. So he said, okay, I'm going to do my own program.
Wow.
That's the kind of initiative we need because the longer we wait, the worse the problem's going to be.
Well, since you're looking out for people, can I just put in my request?
Yes.
Because anytime when people ask, Drewski, where you from? And I say Elizabeth, they go, oh, that's where that smell is on exit 13. Is there a way to fix that, Jared? Can we change the odor on our exits because it became a joke within, the industry?
I can't promise anything, but I will tell you we would definitely look into it. I mean, there's a lot going around now with the Linden Refinery, how they sent out the letter for people to get tested from the fumes since, if you lived in the area since 1992.
That's me. I grew up in Bayway. So to me, I became immune to that smell. And I'm like, it's normal. And then when you go meet new people and they go, where you from, Elizabeth? Oh, that's that smell, that exit there. I'm like, hey, we got to fix this. Because I feel like it's been the same smell since 91.
100%.
Okay, so we're going to work on that too.
We'll work on that, definitely.
Okay, see, look, he's already, if you want something done or changed, all you got to do is ask. The guy's willing to change the city, so make sure you go out, vote. I believe there's a meet and greet.
Yeah, we're working on setting up a meet and greet. The information will be on my Facebook and Instagram. Working on setting it up for next week and hopefully another one after that.
Got it. So you're outside.
Yes, sir.
And you're going to use the power of social media to get these new voters to pay attention.
100%.
How much time do we have left before the election?
June 4th is the election.
Oh, it's right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
So go out and vote. Meet and greet going down. One more time, tell them how they can follow you in Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook, Jared Peets for Mayor 2024. And we'll be posting up for a meet and greet next week and hopefully the following week as well.
There it is. Appreciate you stopping by. Best of luck. And we're going to change that odor at exit 13, okay?
Yes, sir.
Peace.